At 46, the world is still discovering new layers of Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, the relentless competitor whose fire shaped an entire generation of basketball fans. And today, a shocking question resurfaces. Who were the 5 names he hated the most? Not out of personal spite, but born from fierce battles, bruising rivalries, and moments that defined his legendary career. For years, these confrontations stayed buried behind locker room doors, whispers from teammates, and stories only insiders dared to share. But now the truth comes back to light. The tensions, the clashes, the iconic moments that shaped Kobe's cold, unforgiving Mamba mentality. Why these 5 names? Why did these rivalries cut deeper than the others? And what do they reveal about the man behind the legend? And with that, we arrive at the list. 5 names, 5 stories, each darker and more intense than the last. Number 5, Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes, a name forever tied to one of the most unforgettable moments in NBA history, the notorious fake ball incident. 1 second, one gesture, and a stare that became legend. Barnes fired the ball toward Kobe Bryant's face, expecting a flinch, a blink, any sign of weakness. Instead, Kobe didn't move an inch. No reaction, no fear, no flicker in his eyes. For Kobe, it wasn't just disrespect. It was a direct challenge to everything he stood for. According to insiders who were courtside that night, the tension between them had been brewing long before that moment. Barnes was known as a physical agitator, a player who excelled at provoking opponents and breaking their rhythm. He believed that if you wanted to beat Kobe Bryant, you had to unsettle him mentally, not physically. Witnesses later recalled that players on the court thought Kobe would shove Barnes or at least say something back. Instead, Kobe's silence became the loudest message possible, infuriating Barnes more than any insult ever could. Their rivalry escalated in their next matchup. Barnes went at Kobe with every trick he had, grabs, bumps, shoves, and trash talk that echoed across the court. Kobe responded not with words, but with a cold, relentless intensity that made the air feel heavy. A Lakers assistant once revealed that Kobe walked into the locker room after one of those games with a look not of anger, but of pure focus. The look of a man who has identified his enemy, he said. The fallout lasted for years. Every meeting between them felt like a continuation of an unfinished war. Barnes never apologized for the fake ball moment, and Kobe never forgot it. Their relationship only cooled when Barnes eventually joined the Lakers as a teammate. Even then, players said the respect was strictly professional, not personal. What happened between them was locked away behind Kobe's Mamba mentality, filed under rivalry, not forgiveness. In Kobe's list of the 5 names he hated the most, Barnes lands at number 5 not because he caused the deepest wound, but because he created one of the defining snapshots of Kobe Bryant's identity. That moment captured the essence of who Kobe was: unshakable, fearless, and impossible to intimidate. Number 4, Chris Childs. Chris Childs, the man responsible for one of the most shocking confrontations in Kobe Bryant's early career. Their clash wasn't just a heated exchange, it became a defining moment that revealed how raw, young, and fiery Kobe could be, and how willing Childs was to test him in front of millions. The tension built long before the punches were thrown. According to former Knicks staff members, Childs always thought Kobe carried an attitude that needed to be checked. Kobe, 22 at the time, was already rising into superstardom, and his confidence rubbed some veterans the wrong way. Insiders said Childs felt Kobe didn't respect the league hierarchy, especially when facing tough, old-school defenders like him. The breaking point came during a regular season game that quickly spiraled into chaos. Witnesses remember the moment vividly. Kobe bumped Childs. Childs pushed back. Kobe stepped forward. Words were fired like bullets. And then, in a split second that stunned the arena, Childs threw a quick left jab, followed by a second punch that landed clean on Kobe's jaw. Kobe swung back, but security and teammates rushed in before anything else erupted. What the cameras didn't show was the aftermath. Inside sources claimed Kobe was furious, not because he got hit, but because he felt disrespected on a national stage. He took it personally, a former Laker once said. Kobe hated being made a fool of. That moment stuck with him for years. One Lakers trainer remembered Kobe sitting silently after the game, eyes burning, replaying the scene over and over. For Childs, the incident became a career-defining memory. For Kobe, it became fuel. He never forgot the humiliation. He used it as motivation, another piece of emotional armor added to the Mamba shell he would build around himself. The rivalry never healed. They weren't friends, they weren't cordial, and they certainly weren't forgiving. Among the 5 names Kobe could never let go of, Child stands at number 4 because of the impact, not the number of battles, but the sting of a moment that cut deep into Kobe's pride. It was the punch that embarrassed him, toughened him, and awakened a darker, sharper edge in his competitive soul. Number 3, Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller, one of the few players who could get under Kobe Bryant's skin with nothing more than a smirk, a comment, or a perfectly timed shove. Their rivalry wasn't built on one moment, it was built on years of psychological warfare. Miller was a master of mental games, and Kobe hated that more than anything. According to former Pacers insiders, Miller always saw a little bit of himself in Kobe, the obsession, the bravado, the hunger to destroy opponents. But that similarity also sparked friction. Miller believed Kobe needed to be humbled, and he took it upon himself to administer the lesson. Witnesses from their early matchup said Miller constantly whispered trash talk into Kobe's ear, subtle enough for cameras to miss, brutal enough to ignite Kobe's temper instantly. The tension exploded during their infamous near brawl in 2000. The game was already physical, with both teams fighting for every inch of the court. Kobe elbowed Miller on a rebound. Miller retaliated with a shove. Kobe stepped forward, and suddenly the two were throwing fists, grabbing jerseys, and nearly dragging each other into the courtside seats. It was chaos, a moment that revealed how much they truly despised facing each other. Behind the scenes, the stories grew darker. A former Lakers assistant claimed Kobe once told him, "Miller doesn't just try to beat you, he tries to embarrass you." That, for Kobe, was unforgivable. Another witness remembered Kobe studying old Pacers game tapes late at night, not to prepare for the team, just to prepare for Miller. Miller, for his part, thrived on pushing Kobe to the edge. He respected Kobe's talent, but admitted in private conversations that he enjoyed heating up the kid, as he used to call him. What started as competition evolved into psychological warfare. Every game became personal. Every possession felt like a battle for dominance, not points. For Kobe, Miller lands at number 3 because he represented something Kobe hated deeply. Someone who challenged him mentally as fiercely as he challenged opponents physically. Miller forced Kobe into emotional battles he didn't want to fight. And even though they developed mutual respect later, the bitterness of those early years never fully disappeared. It wasn't just rivalry, it was 2 minds, 2 egos, and 2 eras colliding, leaving scars on both, but especially on Kobe. Number 2, Raja Bell. Raja Bell. The name alone brings back memories of some of the most hostile, unforgiving battles Kobe Bryant ever fought on an NBA court. Their rivalry was not built on fame, ego, or legacy. It was built on pure, unfiltered animosity. And for Kobe, that made it unforgettable. Bell wasn't a superstar, he wasn't a household name, but he was one of the few defenders who had the audacity to meet Kobe's fire with a blaze of his own. According to former Suns players, Bell believed Kobe got away with too much, too many calls, too much respect, too much freedom. Bell made it his mission to strip that away, possession by possession. The feud erupted in 2006 during the playoffs. The stakes were high, emotions already boiling. Kobe drove to the basket, Bell cut him off, and the collision sparked an explosion. In one of the most shocking moments of that postseason, Bell wrapped his arm around Kobe's neck and violently threw him to the ground. The arena gasped. The Lakers bench erupted. Kobe rose with a cold fury burning in his eyes, one that witnesses say they had rarely seen. What cameras didn't show was what happened after. Insiders revealed that Kobe went silent in the locker room, staring into nothing, replaying Bell's move over and over. Teammates said he didn't curse, didn't shout, he simply channeled the anger inward, storing it like ammunition. A former trainer said, "When Kobe got quiet, that's when you knew something inside him had snapped." Bell later defended his actions, claiming Kobe had been disrespecting him all game. But that explanation only fueled Kobe's resentment. He viewed Bell not just as an antagonist, but as someone who crossed a line players aren't supposed to cross. The tension carried into every matchup they had afterward. Even when the physical fight stopped, the emotional battles continued. Every glare, every bump, every foul felt like another chapter in a war neither man wanted to end. Raja Bell ranks at number 2 because he left a mark on Kobe that went deeper than bruises or stats. He challenged Kobe's pride, his toughness, and his sense of respect. And Kobe never forgot it. For years, whenever the Suns and Lakers met, you could feel the electricity in the air, the kind that only comes from two men who truly, deeply disliked each other. Number 1, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal, the most complicated, volatile, and iconic name ever linked to Kobe Bryant's story. Their relationship wasn't just a rivalry, it was a civil war inside the Lakers dynasty. Teammates, coaches, and even executives knew that when Kobe and Shaq clashed, the entire franchise felt the tremor. It began with respect, but quickly twisted into tension. Shaq was the dominant force of the NBA. Kobe was the rising prodigy refusing to live in any man's shadow. According to former Lakers insiders, Shaq expected deference from the young star. Kobe, fueled by an obsession to become the greatest, refused to bow. That friction created the spark that ignited a legendary feud. The locker room was where the fire burned hottest. Witnesses recalled arguments that shook the walls. Shaq calling Kobe selfish. Kobe accusing Shaq of being out of shape. Teammates often found themselves choosing sides, splitting the team into camps. One veteran once said, "When those two walked in angry, practice became a battlefield." The tension spilled into the public where insults were traded openly. Shaq mocked Kobe in interviews. Kobe fired back with icy comments about work ethic. Insiders claimed that each man used the media as a weapon, taking shots that cut deeper than any foul on the court. Their feud became so explosive that even championship parades couldn't hide the bitterness simmering beneath the surface. The breaking point came in 2004. The Lakers' empire fractured under the weight of their rivalry. Kobe stayed. Shaq was traded. And although both men later softened the narrative, the truth remained. The split was born from years of resentment, jealousy, and a battle for control. Yet the most haunting part of their relationship came later. After retirement, after the war had cooled, Kobe admitted the rivalry pushed him to become stronger, sharper, more ruthless. Shaq, too, acknowledged that Kobe forced him to evolve. But beneath the mutual respect, the wounds never fully healed. Insiders close to both men insisted that the tension, at its peak, was real, so real that it nearly ripped their careers apart. Shaq lands at number 1 because he was the only rival who matched Kobe in size, power, ego, and influence. Their battles weren't just fights, they were earthquakes. And even after they reconciled, the shadow of that rivalry remained one of the most defining chapters in Kobe Bryant's life. What makes this entire story even more striking is what insiders revealed after Kobe's career ended. Behind every fight, every shove, every bitter rivalry, Kobe quietly kept a private understanding of what these opponents truly meant to him. He never said it publicly, but those closest to him claimed he knew each feud had shaped a different part of his mentality. The men he clashed with the hardest were the same men who pushed him deeper into greatness. In the end, these 5 names weren't just rivals he hated. They were the walls he had to break through to become the Black Mamba. Every confrontation sharpened him. Every slight fueled him. Every moment of conflict forged a stronger version of himself. Kobe Bryant didn't rise despite these rivalries. He rose because of them.